Welcome to HD Nation, your guide to the best in HD content and the best in home theater gear, no matter what your budget is. I'm Patrick Norton.
Hey, and I'm Robert Herron.
We got a bunch of great stuff coming up in today's show. If I look tired, it's because I was in the hospital till 1 a.m. last night.
One?
Ay,
ay, ay.
All I want to say is, you know what? A JPEG of an X-ray should be a JPEG of an X-ray, even if you move it from one hospital to another. Oh my goodness. Hey, I don't even want to talk about the Niners. They're going to Santa Clara. They're dead to me. The Seahawks, way to go. For the Stoner Bowl, I think, this year. But the thing about the Stoner Bowl this year, the Super Bowl, is that TV makers love the Super Bowl. Because apparently, do they really sell more TVs for Super Bowl weekend than they do for Christmas?
It would not surprise me, and according to the very timely article from the good folks at Fat Wallet, they are saying that, yeah, you know what? The NFL Super Bowl drives the most TV sales. But we're talking bigger than Black Friday, bigger than the Christmas holiday season. Forget Cyber Monday. We're talking about the Super Bowl sells more TVs than any other time of the year.
And they're all really expensive televisions, right?
No. The most important category, according to the Fat Wallet article, when you're shopping for a new TV, for most people, it's price. And most people who are shopping for new TVs are planning to spend about $300 to $500. Value screens.
So Super Bowl weekend television purchases, $300 to $500.
Yeah.
I wonder what percentage of them are returned on Monday morning.
Hopefully not many.
Yeah.
Those are good deals you people are finding. But you know what? If you are looking for a good value out there and you're wondering what the heck to do, I'd have to say, judging by the BCS, the recently completed college football scenario that was completely sponsored by the good folks at Verizion TV, their TVs tend to be very popular, and their E-Series in particular happens to be their best value option. If you're looking for something maybe a little more step up as far as that goes, I want to say that their M-Series televisions will bring more features and improve picture quality. And here I am on the Vizio page looking through all their good stuff. You can see here, if you look at the very first letter, M-Series, more for their multimedia series, where they're having features like, you know, your streaming and your other built-in app features. The E-Series, though, the Everyone series, that's where you're going to find some of your great values. And granted, for a 70-inch screen for $1,500, that's a little bit beyond what the article was talking about price-wise, but that's pretty
inexpensive.
That's a pretty good price for a 70-inch screen. You can keep scrolling down to get into the smaller screens as well. And that's what I'm going to say. If you're looking for a good value, consider that E-Series first, although I will say the M-Series, I have seen better picture quality overall in that set if you got a little bit extra to spend. Panasonic plasmas, probably not the best time in the world to be shopping for the now discontinued plasma line of TVs from that company. If you have your heart set on a good plasma for right now, check and see what Samsung has to offer currently, or wait a couple of months and you're going to see what the brand new Samsung plasmas will be coming up later in 2014.
I mean, this is also kind of tough because we have end of life of a lot of televisions. The CES announcements have been made. The prices are all over the map because Robert's pointed this out in the past, like HDTV prices, they go up, then they start to drop, and then as they run out of units at the end of life, the prices start to go up again.
They're timing it well. And also, too, if you can shop local, that's not only a good way just to get your eyeballs on the screen, but you can check out great value as well. My local Costco store, it's a club store that you pay money to join, but it's also a great business locally. And they feature lots of great size TVs of all popular brands. And right now, at least, they're doing a lot of free shipping, I noticed, on all of their variety of televisions out there.
Well, but you'll also walk into a Costco and they'll have 15 of that television stacked underneath that television on display. So.
This is true. This is true. But also for the big screens, but also just for some of maybe the 30 to 50 inch category as well. They've got great options there. And because you're buying local, it helps support your community and things like that. And I would be remiss not to say that LG makes some awesome LCD screens. And models like the 5300 series I'm actually showing right here can be had for not a lot of coin. This is a 39-inch screen for under $400, under $350. Now, the 5300 series, we're talking no apps, no 3D, nice and simple. If you want to step up with a little bit more tech, you can go for the 5400 series, and that will give you things like 120 hertz refresh rate, and not even apps, though. You're still not getting into the apps until you go even higher than that. But
I'm a lot less concerned about apps than I am plug an Apple TV into it, plug a digital tuner into it, plug a Roku 3. I love the Roku 3. Plug a Roku 3 into it. You know, I mean, get a Chrome stick. Excuse me. Chromecast.
Chromecast. Probably one of the most used items in my household right now in terms of streaming. I just want Amazon streaming. I want everything to stream through the Chromecast, but it's not quite there yet. But for things like, I don't know, Netflix, YouTube, and others, hey, it's a pretty good tool.
It's a good tool.
Yeah.
It's $35, people.
Can't really go wrong with that price.
You know, I was avoiding asking for Robert's mom's HBO Go password, at least until a couple days ago, when GigaOhm posted, HBO CEO thinks shared HBO Go passwords are a great promotion. Plepler told basically a room full of people, quote, "It's not that we are unmindful of it, but it has no real effect on the business." That was during a BuzzFeed event in New York City. Apparently, GigaOM says, quote, he went even further, claiming that password sharing could have a positive effect on HBO's bottom line down the road. Students who share their parents' accounts are more likely to one day subscribe to HBO themselves. Plepler argued, "To us, it's in many ways a terrific marketing vehicle for the next generation of viewers." That said, Plepler told GigaOM that HBO is working in different ways to affect password sharing. GigaOM notes that HBO Go is capped to 3 simultaneous streams. You have to occasionally reset your service. And if you're wondering why HBO isn't bringing the hammer down on password sharers, definitely check out the full article. HBO CEOs think shared passwords are a great promotion on GigaOM. We're going to have a link to it in the show notes. But they've got a really good theory about why he's so chill about this.
That's nice, and they do have some limitations on the back end.
Right.
I mean, 3 simultaneous streams, that's still pretty generous, though. That could handle, I mean, 1 account for a few family members, in addition to whoever's paying the bill, who should get first crack at that. But I think it's a good way to get people to at least try the service, and if you really get hooked on some of their content, that would encourage you, I think, down the road. I mean, you're not always going to be leeching off someone else's account forever, usually.
Maybe.
So this would encourage them, I think, to get some new subscribers.
How long have you been leeching for?
Not long enough, apparently. I'm calling Mom today. I didn't even think about calling my mom. She does subscribe to HBO, and it's like, hey, Mom, share like.
Oh my goodness. You may remember Intel publicly announcing an internet TV service all the way back in February 2013. Well, that didn't happen. But yesterday, Intel announced that Verizon has agreed to buy the project. From Intel's press release, quote, Verizon will purchase intellectual property rights and other assets that enable Intel's OnQ cloud TV platform. We also hear Verizon is going to offer employment to that 350-person unit down at Intel, which is good for Santa Clara and apparently, I guess, for the employees. It's kind of nice if you actually buy a unit and keep the people.
At least initially. That's usually the way it'll work. That's what they'll say.
We've been purchased a few times.
It looks good in the newspaper for a while.
Well, I mean, it's also think about this, like, you know, okay, who's got more money than Intel sitting in the bank? Maybe Google or Microsoft, but Intel really couldn't make this deal happen. My understanding is because they couldn't get the content deals they wanted, but it's interesting to think of somebody with the financial resources and motivation of Intel that couldn't kind of finish this project the way we wanted to. Verizon apparently is going to integrate the service into Fios Video. Verizon CEO Lowell McAdams said, quote, we will have the opportunity to enhance, expand, accelerate, and integrate our delivery of video products and services to better serve audiences on a wide array of devices.
That makes a little bit more sense, though, to me, because it's like, you know what, Intel really doesn't do video production. They could create the technologies that might be worth buying, but you give it to someone like a Verizon who has an installed base of people subscribing to their content and delivering it over a high-speed pipe. This might be a perfect product for them. So,
I mean, my question is when we're actually going to have, you know, Fios actually available.
I just want more options. I have either really slow DSL or I have Comcast, and there's not a lot in between for where I live, and you need more competition.
Apparently, we should start an ISP.
Indeed. Oh, I could do microwave delivery to if I'm willing to put the antenna up on the. Crazy. Hey, you know. In other news, the picture quality experts at SpectraCal, you may have seen me use their software here on the show. They have a free tool you can check out called Color Checker that works with a hardware color meter. It'll measure how accurate or not your PC is at displaying, get this, colors. Get this, free download we're talking. This works with a variety of different color checker tools out there. And it's compatible with quite a bit of them. Now, if you have an old meter that you have stuffed in a drawer somewhere, pull it out and see how accurate or not your laptop or your computer display is at rendering color. And you can compare multiple displays to see if, you know, if what you're seeing is what you're supposed to be seeing or not. But it's a tool I use often when I'm evaluating TVs, and it's definitely not the full package of CalMan software, but it's that one aspect, the color checker tool that you can now download for free and use.
That's really cool, though. I mean, I love that CalMan is not only making that available for free, but making it available across a whole bunch of relatively inexpensive color checkers.
Totally, and that's one reason I love their software so much, too, is the fact that, at least on my end of it, I have a variety of hardware I can use with that particular software, and that's one good thing they've done over the years is integrating driver support for a lot of different tools out there, including older color meters like you may have in your drawer at home. So
now, if only hospitals could exchange x-rays. Jim in Livonia, Michigan writes in, I just watched Robert talking about his Energy Take 5 classic speakers. He said that he bought some good stands for them. I was hoping he could tell me what stands he uses, as I have been searching for some for my Energy speakers, but have yet to find any that are decent for a reasonable price. Jim in Livonia, Michigan.
Darn straight.
We talk about wall mounting TVs all the time. Safety, convenience, it looks good too. Those energy speakers, incredibly popular. You ended up with a couple sets of Santa speaker stands.
I did, and forgive me, let me just pull them up here real quick. Now I'm using these stands for my rear channel. These are called the Sanus System Adjustable Satellite Speaker Hover Foundation Stands, the foundation ones. In particular, what I love about them so much is this angled tube at the top that's adjustable up and down. These are what I use for my rear channels to point them right at my head, and they also come with a straight tube as well, so if you don't need the angled tube, it will work with however you want, and they include a variety of brackets as well for getting your speakers mounted just right. And for the fronts, I'm using a slightly different set of speaker stands. These, more of a slender teardrop style that I have up front. If I had to do it all again, I would stick with just the rear channel design only, because they're a little bit thicker, a little bit heavier, but also I'm using 14 gauge wire for my speaker setup, and I found that this teardrop stand, you will barely, I mean barely, get that wire through this stand to make it fit.
Because basically it runs up the tube.
Yeah, if you're trying to hide the wires, it's going to be difficult to get 14 gauge wire through the teardrop one, but you know, if you're using slightly thinner wire, you're not going to have any problems there at all. Otherwise, it worked out well in terms of providing adequate height to get my speakers side by side or relatively centered to my screen. I personally have them set on either side of the screen, not behind it, of course. The center channel's right up front.
Now that said, almost any compact small speaker can be wall mounted. Some speakers provide built-in connectors for attaching to a wall mount hardware. Those are actually pretty standard. Speakers that lack built-in mounting options can be affixed using clamp-style mounts. And I'm kind of curious, are you a big fan? Like, at what point do you start getting nervous about wall mounting speakers?
I think it comes down to a weight thing, really, or just the physical size. Of course, you're not wall mounting your tower speakers. If you have nice, tall, beautiful looking towers, that would be more or less ridiculous.
Floor standing speakers belong on the floor.
I guess I'd say like a cubic foot in general. If it's that size or smaller, you can pretty much find a wall mount solution for that if that's the way you want to go.
I mean, we could also argue if it doesn't have a wall mount built into the back of the speaker, don't wall mount it because it's probably too heavy. In-wall wiring, the joy, the pain, the suffering.
If you have already gone to that trouble to put the wiring in the walls, you know, one less thing to deal with then is to why not wall mount that speaker to have it just look as clean as possible. I mean, that's almost the whole point of doing in-wall wiring anyway, is just so you can, you know, run it directly behind the speaker so that nothing shows other than that wonderful speaker hanging there. Now, wireless speakers are an option, but wireless speakers still need power and they need the signal to drive them. We've shown you a Rocketfish product that they've been selling for years that will actually do stereo pairs to whatever speaker you want. You can adapt it however you like. However, there is a new wireless association that we previewed at CES 2014, the Wireless Speaker and Audio Association, aka WiSA. They announced several new partnerships with many manufacturers. You're going to see these products labeled as WiSA compatible coming up later this year. And any WiSA labeled product should play nice with one another in a sense. Say you had, say, a WiSA compatible Blu-ray player and a WiSA compatible AV receiver with WiSA compatible speakers. You should be able to make all of those communicate, at least the audio portion of it, wirelessly, which is the long-standing goal, I guess, of many of these technologies.
Is WiSA going to be running in the 2.4 gigahertz band? Or?
I want to say they are. In addition, actually, you know, that's a good question. What is the technology? Let's take a look at the overview.
I'm always amazed. Like, it's kind of funny. There's a lot of products that actually, audio products that operate just fine in that area, but it always makes me a little nervous.
I'm not sure which wireless technology it is, but the thing that jumped out at me was low latency. In particular, they're looking at less than 5 millisecond delays.
Oh, cool.
So it is less of an issue in terms of setup and timing for when you're dealing with that leap without wire to your rear channel. So that when you're doing things like surround effects, everything sounds the way it should.
WiSA wireless speakers, end of this year, now? When do we expect to see those showing up?
Some are already shown up. Bang & Olufsen have already introduced a whole line that is based upon this technology.
So we can't afford those.
No. But also Sharp has shown off a Blu-ray player and other products coming soon. This is really the very beginning of it, but I expect by this summer we'll see more actual products from some of the more major audio players out there. And because I think this is something so many people are interested in, I could see this just becoming a pretty popular offering by year's end, especially in time for the holiday season, next holiday season.
Cool. From the Facebooks, Ben writes in, Optoma HD131Xe, yay or nay? A 1080p projector for $775 sounds too good to be true, but I remember you guys speaking fondly of an older model Optoma. I'm planning on upgrading an old 37-inch Sharp Aquo soon, and this option seems very attractive. Love the show. Thanks. Yeah, I projector plus 1,000. I've been running a refurbished. I bought it refurbished off of like a Woot sellout, an Optoma HD131 for less than $700, like $650. It's been running for at least 3 years now. It's been flawless. It's probably time to buy a new bulb. I would like a little bit deeper blacks. I would like more lumens.
Better contrast.
Better contrast. But you know, the HD131Xe, the E stands for black. The HD131W is the white projector. It's 1080p, it's 3D ready, it's a DLP projector. It doesn't have the brightest output, it's like 2500 lumen. It doesn't have the fanciest processing, but it should look gorgeous, especially compared to your 37-inch screen you have right now. And that 2500 lumens, while it isn't super bright, it's still 800 lumens brighter than the projector I've been running with a 15-foot window, like a 6-foot high by 15-foot window. Get shades for the TV room, and you'll be enjoying like 100 inches of awesome. Unless you have a painted wall or wallpaper, then you need to buy a screen along with the projector, and then you will enjoy some amazing, I mean, it's...
just put it right at any wall.
But my wife wasn't really into Blu-ray until like I put one of her favorite movies on Blu-ray on a 100-inch screen.
Yeah.
And she was just like, bam.
Where you can appreciate the detail that's made possible by such a great format like Blu-ray. Compared to, that's where if you can compare side by side DVD playback and Blu-ray playback, that's where you'll start to see differences is on a large size screen.
It's funny because like Downton Abbey on Netflix looks fantastic. Netflix.com/TechZilla, they're a sponsor. You know, but when you throw the Blu-ray on a 100-inch screen, you see more detail, you see more accurate colors. It's pretty amazing. For $775, you will be super, 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 super happy with what you get for that.
I would just make a point that if you're going to think about purchasing any projector is to slide on over to the wonderful folks at projectorcentral.com. For just about every projector on the planet, they have something called the Calculator Pro.
Yeah.
And it will tell you a few things about the projector you're thinking about. In particular, if you had this one sitting on a table, there's a 12-inch offset on this particular projector, meaning that the image will, when shot at a wall and everything's level, it'll be 12 inches above where the projector is. Likewise, if you turn that upside down and mounted it from the ceiling, like if I click the ceiling button, there would be a 12-inch offset there as well. And it may be less of an issue if you hung it on the ceiling compared to, say, sitting it on a table, or vice versa. Also take a look at like what size screen you're thinking of shooting this with. It will also give you indications as if it's putting out enough light or not to handle the room environment you're thinking of. It can give you a lot of tools in order to plug in the numbers and say, you know what, this will or will not work within the room I'm thinking of putting it in before you even swipe the card. And it's a terrific resource, in addition to reviews and other things that Projector Central offers.
Yeah, and with any projector, if you are not spending all of the money, if you have a lot of glass in that room and a lot of sunlight, you will be using shades or blackout curtains of some type, or blinds, if you want to watch it during the day.
Oh, you know who just announced a new 12,000 lumen laser projector?
Speaking of all of the money.
Our folks over at DP Projection actually have a new projector they're going to be showing off at the next trade show coming up, which I'll try to get more info on that. But 12,000 lumen laser projector, that's getting pretty serious. And hopefully we'll see some consumer products coming soon on that level.
It's a laser projector, it's a tanning system. It'll keep your coffee warm for days.
Oh, you could piss some neighbors off with that one.
Oh, yes, you could.
Light up the neighborhood.
Finally, on a less cheerful note, according to the Los Angeles Times, Paramount has ceased distribution of new motion pictures on traditional film stock. Anchorman 2 being the last release on celluloid from Paramount. Not really sure how to respond to that. The Wolf of Wall Street has the distinction of being the first all-digital major motion picture release for the studio. That I'm a little more excited about, but oh my goodness, film, it is going. I did not hear that. I hate that noise so much. That's it for this episode of HD Nation. Please subscribe at youtube.com/HDNation or revision3.com/HDNation.
Hey, that's right. And please email us your questions, your comments, or your suggestions, or post them right down below. And until next time, thank you for watching.